we have to inform our retailers, they have to then in turn inform their insureds the fact that their risk is going to get modeled, and that may well determine a lot of the terms and conditions, not least of all premium, in fact, indeed, the insurability of their risk. So maybe you could talk a little bit to some of the factors that are really important when an agent is talking to an insured, the ingredients that they need to put together so that the model can be as accurate as possible.
Yeah, so think of the things that are very important for your property when the peril occurs. Knowing when it was built, that will speak to construction codes. That's going to speak to if there's resilience put into your building itself. So, have things changed recently? If you have a new built home, it's probably going to be able to withstand higher wind speeds. Maybe it's going to be built better to a fire code. If you're within one of those specific communities, within especially California, the ones that are fire resilient, knowing that matters. So, having that information at point of quote will make a difference as to the risk that you're assessing. Knowing about the roofing structure itself, what's the material on the top? How old is the roofing system? If you have something that's older, it's going to have deteriorated. Time has taken its toll. Elements, UV rays, all of that will have occurred. So when a storm blows through, there's more chance of shingles ripping off. Other things that are going to matter, seeing the general upkeep of the property. Are you able to see if there's debris around, things that might storm comes by, tornado comes by, pick up, throw into the property? Those things are going to matter. So as an underwriter, as an agent, being able to gather construction type, things that will really matter for the property when you're looking at that higher level view are going to make a difference pretty much anything you're looking at.
One of the ways that we use the model, and it's interesting, is, and you touched on this a little earlier, we use Zesty amongst a couple of other different models, and we will pinpoint the loss in a schedule. We'll pinpoint the loss leaders, those locations that are generating the highest AL, average annual loss, and therefore the highest PML, which obviously drives the premium. And in a lot of cases, you can actually, it comes down to 15% of the portfolio is driving the entire pricing on the portfolio. One of the challenges for us is that when we come to you to look at a model in location or a series of locations on a schedule, it gives feedback to that insured, but it doesn't necessarily represent where the market is going to peg that risk. It could look wonderful from a Zesty standpoint, Zesty Fire, for example, but when they overlay that, there might be some couple of locations that have mediocre exposure, but when they overlay that with their entire portfolio that insurance company is writing, it can actually take it over the line into now making the portfolio less likely to be profitable. So those are some of the challenges that we have to face when using the model. So again, it's very much a tool that we use, but ultimately the underwriter and the company and the capital providers have to make the decision as to what they're going to do. The other interesting thing with models, candidly, is the adoption by the insurance companies, and more importantly, the reinsurance companies of the models such as Zesty, because Swiss Re, being probably the largest or one of the largest reinsurers in the world, they have their own proprietary modeling system for all perils, which they use. And if you're buying reinsurance from Swiss Re, the market is a little bit handcuffed because they have to rely upon that. And it doesn't matter if Zesty says, hey, we've got up-to-date information as of 6 months ago, and this is actually a great risk. But if that's not reflected in other models, we can get handcuffed, which is really frustrating. And that's, I guess, more of a comment rather than a question to you, because I'm sure you're faced with the same things.
Absolutely.
But I bet, so I guess one of the questions to you is just positioning yourself. You know the big couple, we've mentioned them earlier, the big couple of modeling companies out there that, because they've been around so long, have been adopted and by the reinsurance marketplace. How do new models, not just Zesty, but how do new models that are probably adopting more recent AI able to break into that market?
So being able to split apart risks in the more challenging areas that will be driving your reinsurance costs is where we see the usefulness. Of course, we're not playing in the space of we're not producing those PMLs, but we are, and other AI model vendors are really helping you see where may be profitable within that specific area. So unless you're going to hack and cut off areas completely, if you're not going to write in the Midwest because you don't want that SCS exposure, if you're going to completely cut off the Southeast because you're avoiding hurricane or California, you're more than welcome to do so. But there is a lot of business that you'd be missing out on. So what we're able to do is really help you take that view and focus on what really matters within that specific area. That's what the newer models are going to do, is take that holistic view of the specific risk, split it within that challenging area, and help you make a best decision from there. So that will still not be reflected specifically within AAR or RMS. We can help you pull out properties within those tail risk areas that you find. But realistically, if you're looking at that overall view, it will still probably show up as a higher risk in that area. But what we do is help to split and find you the ones that are actually profitable within there. So it is a bit of a balancing game. It can be a little bit of a challenging dynamic, but unless you're going to completely hack off areas and just avoid a decent portion of business, this is where we can help come in and split within those territories for you.